The trailer is out for the Wham documentary. You have no idea how fast I pressed play on that. We're so happy to see you. We're so happy to have you here. Come on back on Wednesday. That is June 21st. We're going to be doing a live spoiler chat about The Flash. The Flash is one of many big movies out this weekend in theaters. We reviewed it last week, so take a look for that. But we tried really hard not to spoil. Some folks out there think we spoiled anyway. I don't know how. But we always go in with
the Flash is in The Flash. Oh no, I've said too much.
Michael Keaton's in it. So I think spoilers are in the eye of the beholder. Yeah. That is just me. But we'll really get into it if you'd like to get into it, and also get into like Spider-Verse and or Transformers or anything you want to spoil. We'll do it on Wednesday. That is the 21st. We're doing it at 10 a.m., a little
Pacific.
Earlier than usual. 10 a.m. Pacific, yes. Different time zones for different people. So come join us there. We would love to see you, of course. Lots of people died this week. Important people died. It was a weird week, including Glenda Jackson.
Yes.
Legendary Glenda Jackson. Alonso, please speak about her a little bit.
So, extraordinary actress, came from a very strong theater background and continued to do theater throughout her life, particularly Shakespeare and Edward Albee. But I mean, like, you name it, she did it. Won 2 Academy Awards for very different films. One, an adaptation of D.H. Lawrence's Women in Love, directed by Ken Russell, but produced and written by Larry Kramer, who apparently kept Ken Russell in check as much as he could, according to Kramer anyway. And then also A Touch of Class, which is a very charming romantic comedy that she did with George Segal. Famously left the acting profession for quite a while to go be an MP. And
in Britain.
In Britain, yes. A member of parliament, not military police. And had a very distinguished career as a politician, and then came back to do some acting later in life. I have not seen this in a very long time, but my Facebook was blowing up with her Muppet Show appearance. Apparently it's great. So that's on Disney Plus. I'm going to go look up that this weekend. But apparently, reportedly, she basically told Jim Henson and company, look, I'll do whatever you guys want. Y'all know what you're doing. And apparently it's a really fun episode. So I got to go look for that.
And after she was in politics, she came back to the stage and she played King Lear.
Yes.
So King Lear and the Muppets. Glenda Jackson contained multitudes. She was 87 years old. Yeah, 87 years old. And then Cormac McCarthy died. Yep. We learned about this soon after we finished our news segment on Tuesday. Of course, legendary Pulitzer Prize winning author whose works have been adapted so many times, including what my favorite Coen Brothers movie, No Country for Old Men, and The Road, and All the Pretty Horses.
Yeah, definitely. I to be honest, one of my gaps of American literature, but from the gushing obituaries I have seen this week, clearly a modern master of prose, and I need to start checking out some of his work.
Yes, a brutal poetry to his writing. So he was 89. And then John Romita Sr.
Yes.
Speaking of Spider-Man, John Romita Sr., who came on to Marvel after Steve Ditko left. It's funny, there's a Stan Lee documentary on Disney Plus right now.
Yes, dropping today, I think. Yeah.
A very loving, like, total love letter to Stan Lee. But part of it is in the most, like, tangential way, because it's still an infomercial. It's about his beef with Steve Ditko. And then after Steve Ditko left, John Romita Sr. came in and drew a lot of really important characters like Spider-Man and Wolverine.
Mary Jane.
And, sorry?
Was the first artist to draw Mary Jane Watson.
Oh, wow. So he was a legend. He died at 93. So very influential.
Yeah,
there.
that growing up, that was John Romita's Spider-Man was my idea of what Spider-Man looked like, and so, yeah, I think if you look at the sort of evolution of that character over the years in print, like Romita's contributions are invaluable, sort of bridging the gap from Ditko to more contemporary, representations of the character.
Interesting. So that's after his son, who is also a comic book artist, I believe, announced that on Twitter. So let's just stay in the comic book world. It's summer.
Okay.
We're sort of, immersed in it.
There's no escape.
We try. So the Flash is opening this weekend. Andy Muschietti directed it, who also did the two It movies. Right. Apparently, he's doing a new Batman movie. Do you know this iteration of Batman, The Brave and the Bold? Are you familiar with this?
Sure. So in the comics, and there was actually also a cartoon series of the same name, the idea of The Brave and the Bold was basically Batman, and it was every issue was a team up where he would fight alongside some different member of the DC universe. It would be the Flash, it would be Green Lantern, it would be Power Girl, like whoever, and there would be some excuse why the two of them were in the same place and going after the same thing. And and so it was a way to kind of there was a Superman book that did the same thing that I'm blanking on the name of it at the moment, but the idea was basically, Batman, you love Batman, let us use this to introduce you to these other characters, and then maybe you'll go read their books as well. As a standalone feature film, I have no idea what that means. Maybe it's just a cool title that they happen to own. But I know that it is going to be set in whatever the sort of James Gunn version of the DC universe moving forward is going to be.
And there's like a biological son that Batman never knew he had. That's something I'm seeing in this story. That's part of this movie.
In the comics, this is a thing that happened. So Ra's al Ghul, this sort of ageless, super brilliant, hero who goes back, or villain rather, who goes back millennia, has a daughter named Talia. Talia and Bruce / Batman are a thing for a while. She goes off, has his child without telling him. He finds out about it later.
I see. Okay, so we'll follow that for sure. So that is happening. And then Across the Spider-Verse, everyone loves it. They're not going to show it in the United Arab Emirates because apparently somewhere in the background is a poster. I did not notice this because it's so crammed with details.
Yeah.
But they noticed it there. The poster says protect trans lives. And so that's enough for them to say no.
Yeah, it's hanging in Gwen's bedroom among a million other posters. It is on screen for a matter of seconds.
Right.
But here's where we are, people. And I guess kudos to Sony for saying, like, all right, fine, fuck you. You don't get our movie, rather than blurring it out, which they certainly could have done.
Yes. No, that's great. So exciting. Really, the big news, I should have led with this, is that the trailer is out for the Wham documentary. You have no idea how fast I pressed play on that. You have no idea how fast I emailed the publicist at Netflix to say, please, please, please send me a link for this.
We met when I was 11 and Andrew was 12.
And there was only ever one thing that I wanted to do. You got so be in a band with George.
So whether or not you want to link to the Wham documentary, Alonso, it's in your inbox. So.
Okay, good. I look forward to that. No, I'm curious. Apparently it's a lot of footage that George and Andrew shot themselves. At the height of their acclaim. So yeah, I could see that being an interesting story.
I've already watched it.
Oh.
I watched it as soon as it came in. I'm such a dork. No, because like my 13th birthday, and I'll talk about this when we review it, because we're going to review it. Like on my 13th birthday, it was the Wham America tour in 1985, and they played, and I went. I was there. So this is huge for me. I loved Wham. I still love George Michael. This is Andrew's side of the story, though. Anyway,
okay.
July 5th.
And he has one.
He does, because I think for so long he was like the other guy in Wham.
Right.
And so we have a lot of footage of them as kids. George Michael, I had an awkward phase, if you can imagine.
We all do. Some of us never leave it.
Right? So that's July 5th on Netflix, and I will definitely be making you talk about that, whether you want to or not. Huy Quan was at the Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny premiere to give Harrison Ford a big hug. Alonso, you went and saw the new Indiana Jones and had a quick reaction to it. That is out there. That is inspiring lots of commentary.
Great.
So we cannot review. I guess we could review it.
We could, but we'll be reviewing
it yet.
Yes, next week we'll get there.
We will. I'm seeing Indiana Jones next week, so we will catch up with it next Friday. But yeah, very sweet. Huy Quan and Harrison Ford have still a sweet friendship. It's very cute. So
nice.
So he was there for that. Sarah Polley. I hate the in talks stories. Like it's so ridiculous. But in the larger sense, it does spark an interesting conversation that Sarah Polley is in talks, quote unquote, to direct a live action Bambi for Disney. And so the questions out there, like, why would she do that? Like, she's got cred. She's a serious, substantial filmmaker. Why would she go and like take the money for something that is so not her brand?
I mean, there's a lot of reasons. I think that, you have to remember that even with an Academy Award under her belt, a lot of times when filmmakers are trying to get financing, the money people look at the numbers on the page, and what their sort of lifetime gross has been, or their average gross, or whatever. And so if doing a Disney movie ups that number for her and it makes it easier for her to make her next small difficult movie, then fine. Maybe this is a 2-picture thing where she does this one and then Disney backs something, more off the beaten path. I mean, never forget, David Lynch got to make Blue Velvet, because he also made Dune, so I you never know with these. I don't see Sarah Polley as somebody who was just like waiting for Hollywood to dangle a cash grab in front of her. So I'm sure if she does it, there is some longer game at play here. Somebody pointed, I'm forgetting now who, but apparently there was some show about show business where like there was a joke thing of somebody coming in to talk about directing a live action Bambi, and now I'm forgetting what that was. But apparently this is now, this is art, or life imitating art.
I have hope too that Sarah Polley directing Bambi could be like Greta Gerwig directing Barbie. Also, right? That is like unexpected, and she'll find her own way into it. That's not exactly like everything else we have seen in these live action remakes, which have all felt, for the most part, pretty unnecessary.
David Lowery directing Pete's Dragon.
Yes,
that's an example of bringing in a cool auteur and they do something different with the material. That's the
best one out of all of them.
Yeah, I think. Yeah,
I think so too. All right, we have hope. And then real quick, finally, Disney Plus is going to put out like 28 classic animated shorts.
Yes.
I know you're excited about this. They're starting to come out on July 7th, and they're going to stagger them. They're going to drop a few every once in a while.
For me, this is what the promise of Disney Plus was. Like this idea that you would be able to access this rich history of this company that is very loudly trumpeting its 100th anniversary this year. And yet so often its classics are sort of ignored or kind of tucked away in a corner somewhere, still waiting for the North Avenue Irregulars and the Boatniks. Thank you very much. But I like the fact that they're going through, they're restoring these old, vintage shorts from the studio and making them generally available because, I think it's, we don't talk enough about the fact that like for all the shortcomings of Max, they did at least make pretty much all of, with a few exceptions, the Looney Tunes library available, and it's great for people to be able to watch that stuff and to watch it not like censored for network TV or whatever. And so, more of this, more old vault archive stuff, streamers. It doesn't all have to be the new crap.